Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Ticking Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette syndrome. Today's video is part one of a new series I am starting mainly for parents, guardians, caregivers, or teachers of individuals with Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is a very misunderstood disorder in today's society, and I've received a lot of questions on my videos asking me what are the best ways that a parent or teacher could approach a child with Tourette syndrome, either in the classroom or in their home. I got rice. So in today's video, this is going to be, again, the start of a series talking about how to best support a child with Tourette syndrome, whether that's in the classroom or at home. But for those of you that are new here, let me just introduce myself. My name is Carly, I'm 24 years old, and I have Tourette syndrome. I was clinically diagnosed at the age of 12 by my psychiatrist. As I said, I am now 24. I have lived with Tourette syndrome as long as I can remember, and I have a lot of tips and tricks on how to best live with it and get through life dealing with these debilitating tics. For those of you that don't know what Tourette syndrome is, I mean, if you clicked on this video, you likely already do, but I'm going to give you the brief rundown just as a little refresher for all of us here. So Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder, which means it is not a mental illness. It is different in the way that it directly affects the neurons in someone's brain, causing their signals to misfire, and as a result, we have involuntary movements and sounds that come out of us called tics. These tics are sudden, rapid, uncontrollable, as I said, movement or sounds that a lot of people with Tourette syndrome physically struggle to control. And as you probably are aware, this can be a challenge to a student in a classroom or a child at home. However, Tourette's comes with so much more than just the tics, and in this series, we are going to address it all. I got rice. So if you would like to stay tuned to this series as well as other educational content about Tourette syndrome, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell to stay tuned to all of my content here at Ticking Together, and hopefully with your help you can help me with my goal of breaking the stigma that surrounds Tourette syndrome. When talking about strategies in this video, I am going to use the word child and children, but this can also apply to teenagers and young adults because Tourette syndrome does not just affect children. It is a lifelong condition and tics can affect adults as well, like me. So let's start with some classroom strategies for children with Tourette syndrome. As a teacher, it's really important to recognize that children don't have a lot of control over their tics. In some cases, tics can be suppressed, but this is extremely harmful to the individual dealing with Tourette syndrome or a tic disorder because it really distracts us from what we should be focusing on, which is learning. When we are suppressing, all we are focusing on is in our head, don't tick, don't tick, don't tick. So we're not getting the full experience out of the lesson. So making a note that these children do not have control of these movements or sounds is the number one thing you have to start off with when dealing with a child with Tourette syndrome in your classroom. A really important thing to do as a teacher is to not scold or correct people for their tics. Definitely do not reprimand, scold, or punish a child for their tics in a classroom, regardless if they're disruptive, because we cannot help it. If you are scolding a child for a tic, that is going to make them feel so embarrassed and like such an outcast because it's something we actually cannot control. And so if you're saying, hey, don't do that, to something that we can't physically stop from doing, we're gonna feel like the biggest failure. And it sets the child up for failure in the classroom because they're gonna feel very much judged and kind of scared of the teacher because no one likes to be scolded or punished, especially for something we can't control. It's important to create a positive and accepting environment in the classroom. We want to make sure we're educating other students about tics and Tourette's. If you have a student with Tourette syndrome in your classroom, I would highly recommend bringing in an adult who has Tourette syndrome to make a presentation about what Tourette's is for young audiences. It can make all the difference to see someone who is older and wiser dealing with the same thing that a young kid in the class is dealing with. So it might make students more accepting and understanding of their classmates' situation. It's really important to not judge or ridicule the student. If you have a child with Tourette's in your classroom and you're noticing that there is a dramatic increase in the child's tics, it's important to let the parent know immediately This could mean there's a treatment change that is needed in the near future, or they might have to go back to talk to their pediatrician or neurologist. It's also really important to try and not get hung up on the issue of whether the child can or cannot control their tics. Because as I said, as someone with Tourette syndrome, I know how hard it is to control tics. I already mentioned this at the beginning, we can't control them very easily, but as a teacher or parent, just realize that we cannot control these. So don't be in your head of, oh, what can I do to help them suppress better? Or what can we do to make this more suppressible? You know, we don't want that. We want to find and provide an embarrassment-free opportunity for the child to release their tics. So this means doing things such as permitting the child to take breaks or to move out of their seat every so often. Definitely give them preferential seating treatment. You want to make sure they're sitting next to a student that can help them rather than hinder them with their success. And if you notice that while the child is taking a test, that their tics get more severe, I would recommend letting the child take their test in a separate room away from distractions so they're not also distracting the kids around them, because vocal tics can be very loud and obnoxious. You don't want the other kids to be affected by that negatively, and you don't want the student with Tourette's to be affected by that negatively either. If tics are too intense, too severe, or even inappropriate, I would recommend brainstorming directly with the child to see what they can do to generate more acceptable releases of these tics. For example, again, if they say, you know what, teacher, I really need to take a break and go to the bathroom to let out my tics, that is something that should never be disallowed because students sometimes need a break, especially with Tourette syndrome. We're going to need more breaks than you think. It's important to be aware of all of these tips and tricks because students with Tourette syndrome are going to struggle more than students that do not have Tourette syndrome. It's just a fact. Tourette's comes with a lot of other comorbidities, which means conditions that coincide with Tourette syndrome, such as ADHD, learning difficulties, OCD, and even oppositional behavior and impulse controls. A lot of things come with Tourette syndrome that are not easy, but you as a teacher or parent with a child with Tourette syndrome, it's important to realize with these tips and tricks, you will be able to best support this child. Students with Tourette syndrome often feel very isolated, so it's important to realize and kind of keep an eye on them to see, are they making friends? Are they progressing socially as they should? And if not, to address that when the time comes. As I said, Tourette syndrome is very, very complex. There are so many subtleties to it, and I really hope that this introductory video will help give you some tips and tricks on how to best approach a child with Tourette syndrome in the classroom or at home. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. Leave a comment down below saying hi to me, letting me know what you would like to see in future videos, or letting me know what your tips and tricks are for how to deal with Tourette syndrome in the classroom or at home. Did I miss anything? What would you recommend? Again, if you like this content, please subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell to stay tuned to I got rice. All of my content here at Ticking Together. As I said, this is going to be a series. There are going to be more videos about how to best support children in the classroom or at home with Tourette syndrome. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, we are learning together, we're laughing together, and we're ticking together. Bye!